I've seen someone say on the internet, I love the internet for its ability to share information instantaneously. But I've seen someone say on the internet, you bury your head now, you bury your children later. And I thought, that's clever. That's catchy. That is some good advertisement. It was a L'Oreal ad. Just kidding. It wasn't a L'Oreal ad. George and Arthur, hi. Hey, what's up, Curtis? Good to see you. It was not an L'Oreal ad. I'm just joking. That'd be funny, though. Maybe it's Maybelline. Bury your head now, bury your children later. But bury it in this new gloss red lipstick. But I seen someone on the internet sharing that. Ooh, Jack in the Crack. Ooh, what'd you get? I remember when I was in California, I would get off of work at like 6 a.m. because I was doing graveyard shift. I would go to the Jack in the Crack drive-thru, and they had the baguette. Was it like the turkey and cheese baguette? It was long. It was like a foot long. I forget what they called it, but it was on a baguette roll, and I get it with the sweet and sour sauce from Jack in the Crack. Put the sweet and sour sauce on the baguette and just eat it. Sweet and sour sauce at Jack in the Box. Spicy chicken, 2 tacos, jalapenos. Oh, you're making me crave. We don't have Jack in the Crack on the East Coast. You're making me crave it. Oh, that's awesome. I hope you enjoy your food. So we're going to talk about a few different things. But I think the overlying theme of living in America today is if you're burying your head in the sand now, you're going to end up burying your children later. Because the way things are going aren't prosperous. To put it simply, Elon Musk is lying. I just saw a tweet from More Perfect Union. Hello, Groot. Good to see you. Big article came across my desk last night. My imaginary desk. Boom, boom, boom. Does that look like I'm pounding on a desk? No, that probably looked like something else. I'm very sorry. I'll go like this from now on. Bam, bam, bam. Article came across my desk last night and said, Starbucks, avoid paying up to or over $1.3 billion in taxes since 2015, over the last decade. And I thought, well, that's par for the course. Meaning, most corporations here in America do everything they can to avoid paying taxes so they can have more and more profits. It's good to see you, Groot. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. For everybody that's joining or joining later, hit that subscribe button. And then after, hit the notification bell. I am Rob, like Groot said, and Curtis before him. And I do news commentary. I call it newsmentary. And I think up in the little trending section, they should have a newsmentary genre. Because let's face it, news is hard to find nowadays. Most, like Fox, CNN, MSNBC, it's commentary. It's not purely news. They're doing what I'm doing, just in a fancy studio. I got a fancy car. I would be first up in the newsmentary. Well, I think I'm defining the genre, even though it's existed for, decades and decades. I'm just the one to say, like, listen, I'm not trying to bring you straight facts. I'm just reporting on the reporting and giving you the commentary, which I think is vital to understand, because too many people go to places like Fox News or CNN and are like, these people are telling me facts. And they're not. They're giving you entertainment. And that's what I'm doing here. It's entertaining to talk about the news and to bring a perspective, a life perspective. Shadow Milk Cookie. Coolest name I've read this morning. Shadow Milk. Or is it a Shadow Milk Cookie? Is the cookie shadow milk? Or is the milk shadowed? And would you want to drink shadow milk? What does that mean, Shadow Milk Cookie? Blowing my mind right now. Please explain, Groot. I'm going to tell my friend about you. He likes the news. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, tell your friends. Tell everybody, all right? I'm trying to grow this channel. My dream is to stop working at the global corporation that sells bean water and to do this for a living. This is what I want to do for a living, okay? When I grow up, I want to do YouTube. I don't give a... Make fun of me. Shadow Milk Cookie, hit subscribe. We need more people with that kind of creativity in their name. Hear ye, hear ye. I was thinking like, listen, I'm doing this in my car most of the time because I just don't have a space. Okay, this is my space. I was like, should we call it parking lot politics? Should we call it? Wait, I don't know. I'm welcome to hear all your ideas. Leave them down in the chat, the comments below. Parking lot. Oh, what's up, Kevin Hawthorne? Good to see you. Good to see everybody strolling in, stopping by. The news today. Let's just give you a brief rundown, all right? Yesterday, we talked about Trump turning the White House into a used car sales lot. Trump bought a $90,000 Tesla that has 37 recalls on it. You know he ain't driving that thing. He couldn't even figure it out. I don't know. I played some of it yesterday on the live stream. I don't know if you've seen it where he gets in the Tesla and he's like, wow, the whole thing's computers. And you're just like, Jesus. E-breaking news. Oh, I love it, Curtis. E-breaking news. We do donuts. So Trump buys, allegedly, I'd like to see the receipt. I'd like to see the title, if you will, with how much he paid for it. But he says he bought a $90,000 Tesla, and that Tesla has 37 recalls on it. And I was sharing this story saying, here's the good news. If Elon Musk gets his way and he eradicates all government regulations, those recalls, poof, disappear. That's what regulations do, folks. They make sure that before a corporation can sell you a product, that it's safe, that it doesn't kill you on your maiden voyage. And that's why, if you're wondering why Elon, everybody's like, he's working for free. He's not. He's enriching himself while he's eluding our government. But if you want to know why Elon's going after certain government agencies, it's because they're the ones who do the regulations. They're the ones who investigate if his car is going to explode more than the Ford Pinto from the 70s. Queso. Oh, Queso is Groot's friend. Of course, Groot has a friend named Queso. This is like a Marvel comic. We got Shadow Milk Cookie, Queso, and Groot. I fucking love YouTube. Nowhere else do I have an audience as creative as this. God bless you all. God bless you all. Good to have you, Curtis. I mean, Queso. Sorry, I was reading what you were saying. What's good, Curtis? Queso, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I do newsmentary. That is news commentary. So Starbucks avoided pet taxes. We're going to get into that. Trump buys a $90,000 Tesla that has 37 recalls. I don't know if many of you have owned a car, but when you get a recall, you usually, your stomach drops a little, your heart skips a beat, and you're like, shit, am I driving a Deathmobile? I need to bring this in. They need to fix this recall. This is not something that you want on your car. You're not like, yo, look at all the recalls on this thing. Who knows if the seatbelt's going to work? Airbags, they say they're there. Recalls are not good for cars, something that 90% of America has to have to get to work, okay? And Trump just bought one with 37 recalls on it. As long as it's not velvet toad cheese. 18 God, welcome, and hit subscribe. I don't know if you were trying to say Velveeta, or if that's a real cheese, Valvolatode. I would believe if you said there's a Valvolatode cheese, I would say, oh, okay. You didn't mean... If that wasn't so hard to pronounce, Valvolatode, you know what? Velveeta cheese has just been renamed to Valvolatode. Thank you, 18 God. That's hilarious. Okay, so you don't want recalls on your car, but this also brings me to another point, a glaringly obvious point of why Elon Musk is trying to rid the government of all and any agencies. All the news stories kind of fall into place today. And we got to start by also saying here on this channel, we believe that the government is meant to provide services for the people. Some of those services, the government shouldn't be run like a business. It is not for profit. It is not Mr. Beast's merch store. We're not trying to get clicks and views to gain a lot of money. Here on this channel, we understand the government uses our taxes to provide services for its civilians, for its citizens. And with that being said, a lot of those services come in the form of regulations. So if you missed it, Tesla has cars with lots of recalls. like lots, like dangerous ones, like stuff that if you were driving and you were driving in a Tesla and I started reading the list of things that could go wrong, you might want to take it in to get it fixed. You might. I don't know. Maybe you're Kurt Russell from Death Proof, that great movie. Maybe you're not. My food just started levitating. Ooh. But that's why Elon wants to get, that's why Elon is so anti-regulation. And the people who support him because he said we shouldn't have regulations, it gets in the way of profit, but he probably disguised it as it gets in the way of innovation. That just means profit for rich people. Because they don't care about innovation. In fact, they do their best to eradicate all and any competition. They don't care about innovation at all. They want to be the only one. That's why Amazon undersold so many companies, bought them out, and then killed Toys R Us, and now you can only get toys from Amazon. Poor kids these days. Don't have the toys. What's up, Terry? Good to see you. I took my Tesla to a Best Buy to fix it. Had the Geek Squad work on it. So now that we understand that the government is here to provide services in the form also of regulations. Regulations meaning you can't sell somebody a car that says it has an airbag, but in the crash, the airbag doesn't work and the gas tank or the battery explodes, and catches fire abnormally, an abnormal amount of times out of crashing. So that's what regulations do. Just a brief fucking civics class. And I didn't even study civics. I didn't even have civics in high school, okay? Or in middle school, like my kids get to do it, or in elementary school, which I think is brilliant. More kids should learn this because you get stupid adults that don't understand that the government shouldn't be run for profit. It uses our taxes to function and make a social contract and laws and regulations in society. That's why when you press on the brake in your car, hello from Croatia. What is up, Zach? Beautiful beaches out in Croatia. Good to see you. Please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I go live, I bring you news, commentary, and we need voices like yours, Zach from Croatia. Unless you're into like that alt-right stuff that's out in Eastern Europe, then, maybe be on your way. But hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're one of the many beautiful, decent people around the world. And if so, we would love to hear what's going on in Croatia. I love having subscribers and people stopping in to give us their perspective. We need more outside influence on the U.S. right now. We need more minds thinking about how we solve this white supremacy problem we got. Subscribe. Yeah, I am the normal one. Awesome. More power to you, Zach. Thank you. I had a friend growing up from Croatia, and she would go back every summer. And the pictures of the beaches and everything there, man, Croatia. God, I want to travel the world so bad. Sorry, I just needed a minute. I really want to travel the world, but unfortunately, the wealthy in America are doing their best to make everybody who works for a living go into poverty, while the rich get richer. It's an age-old story here in America. So we'll get to the bean water. How good is the bean water? 18 God. We will get to Starbucks bean water and how they avoid taxes. All these news stories are interwoven today. But let me just finish about this. So the regulations are very, very important. Elon Musk, if he has his way, gets rid of all the regulations. Guess what? That Tesla, $90,000 car Trump bought, the Tesla Trump bought. All of a sudden, if the government agencies that make the regulations disappear, the recalls disappear. And then you don't know if you're driving a death box. Then you have no idea. You know how you find out? When you die from a crash. And speaking of that, the next news story I read about was a new lobbying group called New Way, NEWAY, formed by libertarian, which means they're pro-business. They think corporations should run a country. Very scary. And if you don't understand why that's scary, well, just think of the worst boss you've ever had and him being the ruler of the county you live in, and he gets to make all the rules. Just imagine your work rules applying to your life at home. And just to go over again, this is why it was important to understand that governments aren't operating for profit. They're not operating to make money, to provide a business for people. They are in the business of social contracts, society, communities, structuring ways for people to live happy, healthy, the pursuit of happiness lives. They're not into enshrining freedom and rights and privileges. Companies, one person or board of people hold all the rights, and everybody else just has to do what the fuck they say. And if they want to change those rules at any time, they can. And there's a new lobbying group, lobbying Trump, the lobbying group called New Way for freedom cities. And listen, if that isn't the biggest tell, if you're into poker, if that's not showing your hand and having a tell that you're calling these freedom cities, I don't know what is. They're going to be the opposite of freedom cities. This lobbying group, New Way, wants to create freedom cities, which means the corporations, the businesses will run. They're trying to lobby Trump to give them land to create their own little sovereign nations inside of America. These freedom cities that this New Way lobby group called New Way, founded and created and working for billionaires, is working to lobby Trump to designate them land. I don't know how this would go, but to get land for them to build their own cities that have their own rules. And their whole premise is like, if we can have these little cities, these freedom cities. Oh, what's up, Alyssa? Good to see you. You're at work. I appreciate you. Appreciate you listening. Always good to see you, Alyssa. Hopefully things are going better. I know it's hard for things to go well right now, but hopefully they're going better. And listen to this, because if you're at work, imagine if you left work and your work still ruled your life. That's what these freedom cities that are being lobbied for right now. The government, Trump, is being lobbied to designate cities to corporations. And their whole premise, article down below, is so that there is no government regulation. Again, all these stories coincide, or all these stories intertwine today. Like the Tesla recalls, and if Elon gets rid of the government, there's no more recalls. It's not that the car doesn't suck and still can kill you. It's just the recalls don't exist because the government regulation bodies have been dismantled. But if these freedom cities are lobbying the president, well, what are they saying? What's the good that could happen? Well, if you're against animal testing, I guess it's good news, because they would never test on animals. They'll test on the humans that live in these cities. That's their whole mission statement. I just cut through the BS. They say we won't be hindered by government regulations. We'll be able to innovate and, go farther and better. But remember, corporations, businesses, they only exist for profit. I know Starbucks tells you that they want to nurture the human spirit, but that's BS, because if they did, they wouldn't pay people poverty wages while they're siphoning billions of dollars to other countries and not doing their service of paying their fair share of taxes in their communities. That's how you nurture the human spirit. You pay people enough that they don't have to work every day and earn sick time. But these freedom, again, in air quotes for everyone who's just listening. What's up, Alyssa? Appreciate you. These freedom cities will have no governmental bodies. So essentially, if you happen to be drafted to a freedom city, because I can't imagine, there will be some people that volunteer, but the first person that is living in a freedom city that has a chip implanted in their brain, and while they're driving their car, it explodes, the chip and the car, and the makeup that they were putting on burns their face off because there was no regulations on it, I'm pretty sure everybody else will be terrified to not want to live in these freedom cities. Again, air quotes, freedom cities. But that's essentially what they are. They would be corporations that, once they're done with what they think is safe and inspected by themselves, again, this is the police policing the police. It just doesn't work. But once these corporations, let's say you bought some food, and there was some E. coli. E. coli. Is that what it's called? The poop bacteria in your salad that you made that night for dinner in your freedom city. Well, there would be no recall because the corporation wouldn't know. Or if they did, they wouldn't care. And you would just eat poop until you died. And that's what these freedom cities are going to consist of. No regulation. You're going to be the test bunny. And do you think the people at the top are going to suffer? No. It is basically the worst dystopian I mean, drafted dungeon X's. Do you have X's? And are you a dungeon? Uh, that's what I was explaining. That I don't think if corporations, imagine if your business, whatever business you work for, if they said, we're going to buy the city and you live here, so now we make the rules. Well, if the business you work for cuts corners to get a product out faster or doesn't want to invest the money to make things safe, like if you look up Johnson & Johnson, everybody knows that they have baby powder. And turns out where they were mining the baby powder, it wasn't just the talc, but it was like asbestos and something else. There was other things, chemicals in the baby powder. And there's a lot of people trying to sue them right now, these mothers, their kids, all that got cancer from using Johnson & Johnson's baby powder. Well, they're shielded because they're a corporation, so they can just tie up the courts forever. But other than that, these companies sometimes put out products that aren't safe, and it skips through the government regulations, or it takes a long time to work its way. That's what people mean when they say, like, the bureaucracy of government. It takes a long time. It's a slow moving machine. Well, because it's hard to hold anybody accountable. It's hard to go through the process. But without the government agency, these people wouldn't even know that they were getting cancer from, or the investigative journalists, from the baby powder. And when I say, people would have to be drafted, what I'm assuming is most people, there would be volunteers to go live in corporate run towns, but most people would not want to do that. Most people would be like, oh, you mean my boss isn't just my boss, but he also is the king of my town and gets to make all the rules? Like, that sounds horrifying, unless you're a boss. Unless, well, I don't know, because even bosses in that town would have to abide by the one CEOs. Imagine if your town, instead of a governor, mayor, political body that was accountable and elected, imagine if it was just the CEO who was the son of the other CEO. He had no credibility. He had no qualities that made him a good person to be in charge. He was just wealthy enough and born to the right person. And these are the people that are lobbying to get freedom cities. If you ever hear of a freedom city, just know that place is the opposite. You don't label something that obvious without it being ironic or satirical. What's up, Solus? Good to see you. It's been a long time, brother. I hope you're well. Watch the Benny Blanco video. Well made. Ooh, thank you, 18 God. That one I wasn't that proud of. I really want to do more. Just to take a little detour, 18 God's talking about some of the videos I do. I was doing reaction videos. I love doing reaction videos. I just don't have like the setup where I could do it right now. We had a move that was at the last place we were living, and I'm trying to work out a time that I can actually use the computer and do those reaction videos. So thank you. So are all humans free? 18 God, we are all subject to the oppressors at hand, as you see if you're in America right now. We are not free. There's the illusion of freedom, but if you're really free, why do we have to work? Why here in America do you have to have a job to have health care? Like, we can't afford health care through the state, so I have to work a certain amount of hours a week just to make sure that if I get sick, I don't die. Would you call that free? I don't think it's free. I think the land of the free in America, I always say, what's free here? Can't get free water, can't get free electricity, no free heat, no free place to live, can hardly speak without getting, shat on. This Trump just yesterday, if you vandalize, which is not terrorism, if you vandalize a Cybertruck, he said that's terrorism now, and it's not. Graffiti is not. So, I mean, everything's being whittled down to the bare bones, but I would question what is free. Public education is not free. We pay with our taxes, and that's why they're trying to get rid of it. So basically, anybody that tries to utilize public education, they're trying to guarantee you get the worst education you would have to pay for a private charter school or whatever. So nothing is free. That's why I think there's such a ironic to when people are like the land of the free. I'm like, Europe is more free than we are. They recognize healthcare as a guaranteed right. Most of them don't have to go into huge amounts of debt to go to higher education. Here in Croatia, healthcare is free. When I see how much it costs to give birth to a baby over there, oh my fucking God. Zach, thank you. This is why it's so hard to talk. Oh, real quick. I linked the movie Sicko by Michael Moore down in the description. If you haven't seen it, watch it. The movie Sicko is free on YouTube right now, but he goes to the European Union and talks to people about how much they pay, and they're shocked when they find out what America does to people to just stay in good health. So thank you, Zach. I must say, so much respect. This is why we need outside voices. This is why you need to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and make sure you join me on this news commentary weekday vision quest we're on to solve humanity's issues and do it for the good of all people. Because when you hear that, Zach's like, here, healthcare is free here. Like, we don't have to worry about going into debt to have a baby. If you're gonna, how much does an ambulance ride cost, Zach? Does it cost $5,000 to $10,000? Because here in America, there are news stories about people Ubering to the ER instead of taking an ambulance. And there's also stories about people dying because they don't want to take an ambulance. There are people rationing insulin. There are people rationing medications. That is not the land of the free. We've been propagandized since birth to believe that we have the best system, that no one should question it, when it's our patriotic duty to question things that are unjust. It's insane. At first, when I watched clips of people who share their experience, I was shocked. This is firsthand Croatian. I love this. Zach, you might have to come on the live stream, my friend. Ambulance is free here. Can you imagine that? People in America are calling Uber when they're having a heart attack or a medical emergency because an ambulance ride, you can go into debt. You can get a medical debt for that. Those are $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 to take an ambulance. And they're in Croatia free. So what I would say is Croatia is better than the U.S. In China, I think it is heard you don't need to pay for any medical bills unless they cure you of whatever illness or they fix whatever problem. Well, so a friend of mine who was going, I forget if it was China or Taiwan, big difference, but he was somewhere and he was like, I guess when he was there, his kid broke their arm or something happened. And he was like, I couldn't believe the medical care we got was so exceptional. But he said, if we had done that at home, like we would have gone into debt. And he said, and it basically almost cost us nothing. I forget, he paid a little bit, but it wasn't like, incurring credit card debt for a broken bone. It's surreal. Please hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. And Zach, thank you. Thank you for being in the chat today. Because that is the stuff where I got a lot of Americans, and no offense to them, they've been propagandized. You got to remember, it's like Stockholm Syndrome. Like, they don't realize until they're shown, or people from other parts of the world are like, hey, you understand, like, we don't worry about medical debt here. Like, if we're sick or we're going to, we have some kind of emergency, like, our first instinct isn't, what is this going to cost? That's a lot of the world. In America, people are like, I'm having a heart attack. Don't call an ambulance. Call an Uber, which is fucked. That is not okay. Move to Canada. I would love to. I truly would. Canada made all insulin free for whether you have the national healthcare or the private. So Dungeness, this whole move to Canada or this move somewhere else, I don't know if you mean it. A lot of people say that to me angrily, like, get the fuck out, or why don't you move somewhere else? And it says, like, that's a deep thing that when people say that. Greetings from Jeremy. What's up, Black Merlin? Interesting name, like it. But when people say that, number one, I think that tells me that they're willing to acknowledge there's a huge problem. And it also tells me that they don't care enough to fix it. And I'm also assuming, I'm assuming that they'll care if someone they know, love, or in their family is hurt and dies and it affects them. And if not, then they're just a cold son of a bitch. But mostly to present a point, nothing. I'm not looking for perfect. And again, this is what I'm saying. You got to hear my words, Dungeon. What I'm not looking for is perfect. I'm not saying we need a perfect. What I'm saying is, you just heard from a dude from Croatia is like, ambulance don't cost anything. And here in America, where people are like, it's the best, people are avoiding an ambulance to go so they don't go into debt in a medical emergency. So what I'm saying is there are systems already set up to do this that we could easily adapt, but we're not. And when you present that point, you know who you're defending? The healthcare insurance industry. And I'm just, what's up? Chevy Chronicles. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. We're talking about the healthcare industry in America real quick, and then we're going to get back to some news. But Dungeon, I address this with you because what you don't, maybe you're unaware or you are aware and you don't care that you're defending the people who are profiting off us dying. Now, I'd ask you, what does your health insurance provide you? Because they're not doctors, they don't have cures, they don't have medicines. The health insurance people just gatekeep your health from you. They're the ones that either deny, you have to get an approval from, you have to see a doctor in network. They just are a gate to a system that the rest of the world has figured out how people should access. The rest of the world looks at the health of their citizens as a right. They have a right to the technology and medications that over millennia, over the course of humanity, we've developed and gathered collectively. And here in America, they said, let's privatize it so some people can get wealthy and while other people die. So I just want you to consider that, Dungeon. When you say move to Canada or nothing's perfect, you're acknowledging that there is a huge problem and you're saying, I don't give a shit if people profit off of my best friend dying or my mother dying or my kid dying. And that is what is happening. And that's why I say anybody who's been affected by it, they have this take. And most people have been affected by it. Anybody who hasn't yet or has enough money to not let it touch them, like money isn't an object for them, so they're like, whatever. Those are the ones who are like, move, get out. But now let me address the move thing. Number one, I'd fucking love to. It takes money to move. But number two, America is built on the fact that patriotism, why do you think in the Constitution they put the right to assemble and the right to redress your grievances with the government? The founders put that in so they didn't want people to be quiet. They didn't want people to go, oh, well, it's just how it is. I guess it sucks and we'll keep dying. Well, people keep getting rich. And by the way, most of these people that get rich, they don't fucking live here. They don't live in our neighborhoods. They hide their money. They're foreign assets. They're, like, I don't want to get into that. But it's not like the healthcare industry is making sure our communities are strong. They're deteriorating us and they're siphoning wealth from us. I don't know what the heck's going on in here. $3 to $5 grand for an ambulance ride in the U.S. Yes. See Germany? I can't. In Germany, 10 euros? No, 10 euros? That's it for... Oh, see, and this is what I'm talking about. So but I got to address Dungeon saying move to Canada. Because when you say move, that means you're being anti-American. Because as an American, you should have the right to free speech, the right to assemble, the right to protest, the right to have your government address your grievances. And too many people have become smitten, and just obey what the wealthy who set up the system, who profit from the system, tell them. And they say, oh, he's anti-American if he talks back. But isn't that what the fucking Tea Party was? Isn't that what America was built on? They were like, no, we're not going to listen to a king. We're going to be able to have some discourse here. So don't be anti-American and tell people to move or nothing's perfect. Like, understand that most of the world figured this out. Why can't we? And as soon as you join our side, then we have more people. And the more people we have, the more people you have, that's what the wealthy are scared of. Because there can't be more of them. That's why they're the 1%. We are the 99%. And once we all decide, and this is why I'm really taking the time to address you, Dungeon. I don't even know if you're still here. Which, if you have left, that sucks. That sucks that you would cop out that hard, that you wouldn't take the time like I am to address that. Like, if all of us stand together and say, fuck, we're done with this. That's what they're terrified of. I paid €250 a month for the insurance. In the first few amendments, they're probably going to stop Americans from going to Canada because certain situations. Listen, I'm like, Canada, will you take me as a refugee? Can't run away from your homeland just because life is getting hard and you have to stand up for it and fight for it. 100%, Chevy, sorry. 100%. But with that, I would also like to move because, it's going to be a long time before America figures out universal health care, as long as there's people still saying, like, it is what it is, because it's like, what? Do you like insurance companies? Have you ever been denied service that you needed for health? Like, as soon as you get insurance companies saying, we don't think you need that treatment, you're going to be like, fuck this noise. It doesn't take much, But with that, it's like, why are, just so you understand how this affects me, the job I work at, I have to work there a certain amount of time to get health insurance for my family. The health insurance takes out 70 to 90% of my paycheck. The other week I made $5 after working 13 hours because I was sick. $5 after 13 hours of work. The rest of my paycheck went to the health insurance company, which I couldn't even afford my co-pays. So this is like a fucked system because they're taking so much money for a system I can't even use. And with that said, watch the documentary Sicko. I put a link down below because it's free on YouTube, but everyone needs to watch that because you'll get informed, and you got to really have a stone cold ass heart of steel to not watch that and be like, something's wrong, we need to change this, whether or not it has affected me. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Yes, and Michael Moore put it up on YouTube for free. I watched it months ago, but I just wanted to remind people because it's such a great insight into how so many other countries figured out how to set up a system for keeping its citizens healthy without a large cost to the system. You know, they use their taxes mostly to pay for it. And if the taxes go up, guess what? Our taxes are going up anyways. They went up last Trump term. They're going up again this one. They're taxing us. So where's it going? Are we seeing anything for that? God damn, I'm parched. Croatia is far from perfect, but we can survive on one job and have the rest of the day to spend with time with family and friends. Every American I met was shocked how much free time we have. Thank you again, Zach. This is why we need insights from outside of America. Because I've always said, America at one point, you could work one job, buy a home, go on a couple vacations a year. America, and I encounter a lot of people every day, has changed drastically. But there are still places in the world where, like Zach said, you can survive one job. You're not worried about medical debt. You can spend time with friends and family. But the propaganda from the wealthy billionaires like Elon Musk telling you we're working hardcore, like when he fired everyone from Twitter and whoever was left was going to be doing hardcore work where they're sleeping at work. It's like, there's a reason Elon has 13 kids and fucking doesn't know any of them, and they all hate him except for the one he uses as a human shield. It's because if you work 80 hours a week, you can't spend time with your family. You have no time to yourself. It's bad for your health. And then you can't even afford to seek out the health care you need because it's so expensive. But Zach, you're right. And I don't understand the people that keep defending America when it's like people are trying to work 2-3 jobs and still not get by and not buy a home and go into medical debt. It's like we should be working. That's my platform. One job that pays enough. Universal health care. Fucking, we need to redo everything, man. So let me get to Starbucks real quick. Starbucks has avoided taxes by having a little known subsidy of their, I forget what it's called. It's called like Starbucks Trading Company in Switzerland. So Starbucks notoriously, like Starbucks is known for being in Seattle. Like they are the Seattle company. They brag about it everywhere. But somehow when they get paid, it all goes to a company in Switzerland. And this Swiss company, coincidentally, there are no coincidences, is taxed much less. So they've avoided paying over the past 10 years, $1.3 billion in taxes in America and the UK and other places. And it just sucks because they're lying to your face when they say, we want to nurture the human spirit. That's their mission statement. But if they did, they would want to invest in the communities where they give people bean water. How many earn in the US? So the minimum wage in Massachusetts is 15. I make 16 an hour. But after the health insurance, so before I even pay my taxes, before the government takes my taxes out, the health insurance takes their money out. And they take out so much that I end up only making $4 an hour. And then I end up owing taxes at the end of the year because it went to health insurance. So the government says, you made this much. And I go, yeah, but health insurance took this much of it. And they go, it doesn't matter. You still owe us that money that you made. And I said, but I didn't get it. And it doesn't matter, and I owe taxes, even though I'm one of the lowest earners in the country. So out of that 16, I only get 4 an hour because health insurance takes this much an hour. And then I can't, because I have co-pays, I have to pay to go see a doctor or go do anything. I can't even afford that. It's fucking crazy. It's so crazy. And people just endure it and say shit like move or it's nothing's perfect. It's like, we're not looking for perfect. We're looking not to die because we can't afford the medicine that the government funded to create or over a lifetime of, work, science, and technology has developed. It's so fucking basic and easy. We need more people to get on board with this. Thank you, Black Merlin, and thank you, Zach, for being in this chat. I really appreciate it. We need more people from outside of America chiming in and saying, hey, you guys can do it. You guys are the ones that can inspire us by sharing what is going on. And people forget, like, Ben Franklin was spending a ton of time in France before they founded this country. And he was like, you know what the French do pretty good? Like, that's what we're known for, a melting pot. We are known for taking a pinch here and a pinch there and putting it all together and making something better. And somehow we've just gotten worse and worse. So Starbucks, avoiding taxes, which is funny and ironic in a sad way. Funny in a sad way, because this week they arrested their own workers who were protesting. Workers in Chicago, the baristas who work at Starbucks in Chicago, were doing a protest to get a fair contract. We're trying to unionize. And for 3 years, the company said, yeah, we'll negotiate with you because they've won unions. Now it's time to negotiate in good faith. And the company has totally avoided it. So there were strikes going on, which are legal strikes. And Starbucks sent in the police to arrest their own workers, which is sadly ironic because Starbucks avoiding paying taxes, but calling in the police who earn their money from our taxes to do their dirty work is just not nurturing the human spirit, not helping the communities they serve. And that's why I say they're siphoning. Starbucks utilizes our resources here in America, but when you don't pay taxes, that means you're a freeloader. Chevy. Sorry, I've been watching Community. It's throwing me off. I don't have a job right now, and I'm unable to collect unemployment because for some reason, even though I follow all their steps, jump through all their hoops, they won't give me anything. And that's the other thing. We should have a universal basic income because if it's hard to get a job right now. I worked in radio for 20 years, and private equity investment companies bought up radio, keep laying people off. I just saw more layoffs the other day. So the years, decades I spent my life dedicating to become a professional at this art form, it's been trashed by investment people who know nothing about radio, even though I help make them a lot of money. So it's hard, and the landscape is changing. So what the government should be doing is providing some kind of basic income, better unemployment. So, because unemployment, once you have it for a certain amount of time, it runs out. And we should be doing something to ensure our citizens can survive, pay whatever bills they need, get food, get water, have heat, have health care. Like, these are basic fucking things. That's why whoever said land of the free, I was like, what is free? If you lose your job in this society, you lose everything. And that is uncalled for in a fucking place that claims to be the land of the free. Like, we should have... Oh, what's up, Jacob? Good to see you. So, Chevy, sorry. I'm really not trying to do that. I keep thinking of Chevy Chase. So my apologies. Good to see you, Jacob. But Chevy, that's the other reason I said you should be, if you're good with the Chevy, you should be making videos every day or a little shorts every day. Please, Chevy, because YouTube is a job. You can make YouTube a job. I mean, I don't make money from it, but, do something. Keep active. Keep going, Chevy. I believe in you. I think you could do it. I think there's a great niche on YouTube for people who are into cars or looking for car help. You can do it. I believe in you. Come on, man. And if you start it up, I'll promote it. Go check out Chevy's. In this town, we don't have public transportation, yet these guys get to ride a shuttle bus everywhere, whether that be going to work or back. And that's the other thing. America has not invested in public transportation. We need that desperately. I don't have a car. Actually, I got to go get the car to my wife right now because she's got to go to her second job as a nurse. It's fucked, man. And cars are expensive, but America doesn't set up like in Europe. I'm sure Zach and Black Merlin could tell us about the public transportation setup there. You can get from England to France on in speed train. And that's the other tough thing, you know, it's really, really difficult. And we need to change those things, and we can change those things. You start by taking action little by little, whether it's just speaking out, whether you're in your community, or even here. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Jacob, good to see you. Alyssa's here. She's listening. She's at work. Black Maryland, come to Europe. Oh, wait, Europe don't like us right now. That comment made me a little suspect. I don't know what us. Oh, like U.S. right now. Yeah, I know. Do you think Elon is ever going to finish those tunnels he was planning on? No, he abandoned them. The Boring Company, he abandoned them. I can't leave my home. I have to stand up and fight for it. But listen, Europe, I've been to the UK twice, and it is majestic. Every time I go there, I feel like I'm home. I don't know. And I want to go to Spain, where my grandmother was married. And I would love to come to Europe, but there are so many things we need to fix here, like Chevy said. But we're fighting to fix it so we can come vacation. I would love to go. Oh, Rick Steves around Europe, man. He's Jacob. He takes people's money. Well, here's the thing. That tunnel that Elon was talking about, go check out Thunderfoot. Thunderfoot F00T on YouTube. He breaks down. He's like some fucking scientist. He's some wizard in the UK. And he breaks down Elon's stuff with a science background or a physics background. And he's like, this dude's just a moron. You know, he just took taxpayer money and got tax breaks just so he could, you know, probably funnel it to his other companies. But he doesn't finish what he says. He lies about stuff. He said in 2017 there would be a Tesla Roadster by 2024. I don't know if you know this. It's 2025 and there still isn't one. And Elon took $250,000 from 100 different individuals for that Tesla Roadster, which still doesn't exist. So I hope you don't fight for Trump, Chevy. No, Black Merlin, most people here are, oh, you can't comment. Please don't fight for Trump. Listen, Chevy, let me be very, very clear. Trump ain't your friend. Trump is against the working class. The reason things are going to get worse, the reason, you know, the reason corporations might have more and more control and dictate more and more things, which means no universal health care, they're going to kick you off unemployment, they're going to take you Social Security, is because of Trump. Remember, Trump is a CEO, a failed one, many businesses, but he ain't your friend. So I highly encourage you, if you agree with some of the stuff I say, let me tell you, Trump is a villain. He's a real life villain. Dude ain't good. And I am absolutely anti-Trump. I'm anti this Democratic Party. I think the only good person speaking out right now is Bernie Sanders, man. My girlfriend got me a stuffed duck, Rob, because I love ducks. I'm going to name him Mr. Quacker. That is awesome. That's so funny. I'm going to have to post a picture of the little ducks I got for $1 for my wife, because she was decorating the house with some Easter stuff. And I got these 2 little cute ducks. Listen, Jacob. I ain't the one. I mean, I might tease you at some point lovingly, but I ain't the one to make fun of you if that's something that you're into. I'm not the one, you know. I'm actually kind of fucking humbled and honored that you shared that with me. I think that is absolutely amazing. And if that's what you love, fuck, I'm excited for you. And my apologies for swearing. I gotta say flack. I think that's awesome. You know what? If you're into stuff that you just purely love and it doesn't hurt anybody, god damn, I support it. You know? I watch Thunderfoot. I like his content. Thunderfoot is brilliant. And he breaks down Elon like nobody else does. Like, he goes hard for the science. And I respect that. But Jacob, I gotta say, I'm honored that you shared that with me. That's fucking cool, man. That's so cool. And now I'm gonna have to put a post of the little ducks I got, because I thought they were so cute. And it wasn't for me. My wife likes to decorate. You know, so they were $1. I was like, let me get them. And I like the name, Mr. Quacker. I used to have a duck until my neighbor's dog. Oh my God, that breaks my heart. That breaks my heart. Listen, ducks are cool, but I got to be honest, you know, they scare me a little bit. I want a crow. And Jacob, just so you know, I'm obsessed with crows, orcas, and wolves. So, man, that's cool. That's cool as hell. And tell your girl she did a good job if she got you the stuffed duck you like, because, you know, that means she was hearing what you were saying. And that's important in relationships. People hear what you say. Listen, I got to bounce, but Chevy, good to have you back. Black Merlin. Dungeon, I hope, Dungeon, you know, you watched Sicko, and I hope you heard what I was addressing to you. I didn't get to many of the other news stories. There's a bunch of links down below. Alyssa, I'm so thankful that you listened at work. I really am, like, floored by people. Sometimes it just, this is like the little moment of the day where I'm very grateful that we have this community. Trump is not my favorite. Good to hear, Chevy. Wait, Trump is my favorite, but I don't know. Yeah, listen, I don't like the top cop. Kamala was the top cop. You know, she's just whatever. Sorry I wasn't able to. Don't worry. Emily. Oh, Em, I love you. By the way, I was thinking about you today because I was like, I didn't say happy birthday to you last month. So my apologies. Happy birthday. A lot of people I love have birthdays all in these 3 months. Everyone I love has birthdays. Well, not everyone. I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of birthdays. But right now, it seems like we're heavy hitting birthdays. So I wanted to say that to you, Em. I was thinking about you earlier. I was listening to Heart Shaped Box. I thought, damn, I didn't tell Em happy birthday on her birthday. So I'm glad I got to see you today. I love you guys. This community is amazing. You guys really keep my mental state good, and I'm very, very grateful for everybody who stops by, whether we agree or we disagree. If you're here for a little discussion and sometimes we make a joke and we get a laugh, I'm so, so grateful for you. I'm telling you, this keeps me going because I go to work and I just work for healthcare. And it's hard when you have kids and you can't provide for them, and and it's just shit's tough. Everybody knows how tough it is. So I really just want to take a moment and say thank you guys. And please, here's the other thing. I'm always into not changing my channel, but growing. So if you have thoughts, say, Rob, I don't like this, or Rob, you need to do that, or you're too ADD, don't stay on topic, or whatever your critique is, I can handle it. Trust me, I'm a big boy. That's how I made a living. I was a producer. A lot of people hated what I did, but I pushed and shoved for what I fought and for what I believed in. So if you have any ideas to make the channel better, somebody was saying, hey, you should chop up your content and put it in shorts, and I thought, that's great. I got to find the time to do that. But please leave it in the comments because I'm here to grow. I want this to be my thing. I'm very, very, very grateful for this community. I'm so thankful for you guys. If you could and you haven't, hit subscribe, and then after, hit that notification bell because I do go live every single weekday. I'm here bringing you news, talking about things, trying to win people over. Rob, the Rogan podcast needs to fuck Joe Rogan. I hate Joe Rogan. He's such a punk. Oh, we got to talk about Bill Burr. If you haven't heard Bill Burr's interview on Fresh Air, the NPR show, they uploaded it to YouTube. I listened to like a quarter of it, and I was like, I know everything he's going to say, but Bill Burr lambasts Elon, and it's great. So if you get a moment, please listen to that Bill Burr interview. We got a lot more to talk about, but I have to go get the car back. Bill burning haters. He is absolutely scorching people. He's leaving folks with no eyebrows. This kid is so hot. We have Obamacare. It's just, it sucks. So yeah, and nobody listen to Joe Rogan. That guy is poison. He is the North Korean news lady. But instead of for Kim Jong-il, he's the North Korean news lady for Trump and Elon. I couldn't believe that he had Elon Musk on to be like, he had Elon Musk back on, right? And he's like, what's that like to pay billions for Twitter and then have people call you a Nazi? I'm like, Joe, you fucking moron. You should say, what's it like to do a Nazi salute, a Sig Heil, and then have people call you a Nazi? Had nothing to do with buying the platform. Like, it's disingenuous and it's malicious. Joe is poison. He is poison to people's brains. So stay away from him. Zach, thank you so much. Black Merlin, thank you guys. Please hit the notification bell after you hit subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Much love.